Hello guys, today we are going to solve the LeetCode problem, which is 2016 maximum difference between increasing elements. So the problem description is about given a zero integer array nums of size n, find the maximum difference between the nums of I and nums of j, that is the nums of j minus nums of I, such that the I and jth index will be within the range of 0 to the n, which is the length of nums array, and the nums of I should be lesser than the nums of j, and return the maximum difference. If no such I and j exist, means we should return -1. So there is a test case, which is the input is nums array. uh, in this nums array there are 4 elements, 7 1 5 4. Okay, so if we take 1 and 5 as nums of I as 1 and nums of j as 5, so 5 minus 1 is 4, which is a maximum difference. So we will return this output as 4. So we will look into the constraints. Okay, then the nums length will be uh, which is lesser than or equal to 10 power 3. So if we give the code or algorithm as a time complexity O of n square, we will not get TLE, because the TLE is 10 power 8 and the time complexity of O of n square is 10 power 6, as the nums of length is 10 power 3. So we will see how to solve this problem. We can use two approach. First is the brute force approach, because we can use two for loops. First for loop is used to traverse from ith index, and inside that there will be another for loop, uh, which will we will traverse from jth index, and we will try every combination of this array, and we will uh, change our max value after getting one another and another, and so at last we will return the answer. But this is an brute force approach, so we can simply solve this problem. Okay, first we need to know about the problem description very clearly. So they have asked about the maximum difference. So the maximum difference means which is we have to subtract any two number, let's say nums of I, nums of j, and minus nums of I. So when we will get maximum difference means there will be only one condition, which is the nums of I, this number should be very minimum, the minimum element from the array. So if we take the first test case, we can see the nums of I is 1, which is very smallest element at this nums array. So if we find the minimum element and after that we can subtract the nums of j using a single for loop, we can easily get the max value. So we need to initialize, first we have to initialize the pre minimum element. We can initialize as first element of the array, let's say nums of 0. Okay, nums of 0. Here the in this array the nums of 0 is 7. So we will use just one for loop which will traverse from I is equal to 1 to the last element. Okay, so in this for loop we will check the maximum number answer, and also we need to uh, re-initialize the pre-minimum element. So the first pre-minimum element is 7. So as we start the iteration from index is equal to 1, so the nums of 1 is equal to value 1. So we will check the in this if condition, we will have an condition as if the nums of I is greater than prefix minimum. Okay, if the nums of I greater than prefix minimum, then we will do this if condition, or else we will reinitialize. Okay, if the nums of I is greater than prefix minimum means uh, uh, so that means the prefix minimum should be need to be less. Okay, so at that point we need to declare the nums of I. So after the first iteration, the nums of the prefix minimum element will be 1. Because why? Because the nums of I is 1, the value is 1, and 1 cannot be greater than the 7. So the new prefix minimum is 1. So after in this if else condition, we will calculate the maximum difference, which is we will check we will use the max function, and we will compare with the already existing max difference value, and we will also calculate the nums of I minus prefix minimum. So just by doing this uh, just by doing this uh, for loop, we can easily get this maximum difference value. Okay, so our time complexity will be O of n, because we used only one for loop, and it is travels from 1 to nth element of the array, so the times complexity will be O of n. So we can see the Java code for this problem also. So in this code, first we need to initialize answer is equal to -1. Why? Because in the question they have clearly given, if we can't find the maximum difference, we can return -1, not 0. So we will declare the answer as -1. If we can't find the maximum difference, we will simply return the answer, so there will be no problem. Next, the prefix minimum, the previous minimum element will be nums of 0. We just initialize the first element, and we then declare a for loop which is iterated from 1 to the last element of the nums array. And why? Because we are starting from the ith I is equal to 1th index, means we already declare the 0th index value. So in inside this for loop, there will be if else condition. The else will be if the nums of I is not greater than the minimum value, so the minimum value will be nums of I. If the nums of I is greater than the minimum value, that means we can do the max function. Okay, so we can do the max function by iterating this one for loop. We can get the answer for this question, we can get the solution and return the answer. So that's all. It is an easy LeetCode problem. Thank you for watching.